What's up? Did you miss me? I told you I'd be banging them out. I mentioned at the tail end of the last episode, which was 27 I think, so this will be 28 of 40, so another 11 after this by the end of the week. So pretty much 2 a day. That would be too many, but there's bound to be a day or two that I don't get one in, so here goes. I mentioned at the end of the last episode about the group that I had just set up. I think there's a section on, when you set up a Facebook group, you can go in and basically add people to it. And I went through the list of names that it populated and added the people who I think at least listen regularly, or people who would regularly like or comment or share what I put on Facebook, basically. And I added them to the group. Now, presumably, or should I say, hopefully, they got a notification to say, you know, Off the Lead has invited you to become part of their group, whereby you would have had the choice to accept that. I'm not sure if that's actually what happened. I'm not sure if you were just automatically included in a group, and if you're listening and that's what happened, I apologise, and please feel free to jump out of the group if you don't want to be in it. If you wouldn't have accepted an invitation had you gotten one, don't feel remotely bad about, you know, leaving the group if you were just automatically included in it, because I hate when people do that. I hate when people add me to stuff and then all of a sudden I've got a load of messages from a load of people. Shit like that bugs me. You should always be invited to join something like that, whereby you can say yes, thank you, not yet, or no, fuck off, basically. But anyway, the Facebook group is very much so in its infancy. I literally only set it up, and that was on the back of advice that I got. And so shout out to Ian Booth, thank you very much, sir. I can't remember what episode it was, but I kind of put out a call for anybody who thought that they could help me in relation to the social media aspect of this Off the Lead thing. And Ian was great. On top of the list of things he thought would be beneficial would be for me to start a Facebook group, which I've since started. So in no small part thanks to yourself, Ian, so thanks for that. And again, there's something about that that's the epitome of what it is that I'm striving to do here. I pump out content, I put a lot of stuff online. People who enjoy it contact me, tell me what they like about it, and are there as a resource of mine, say, that I can tap into and get advice on, say, social media from somebody who knows a lot about social media, as Ian obviously does. Maybe in the not too distant future I'm going to put a call out there for maybe if you're involved in the advertising industry, maybe you know a trick or two that I could utilise to promote this movement that I've created. But this idea of what I'm doing being very much so steered, say, by the listeners is something that I'm really aspiring to. I would like this whole Off the Lead thing to transcend my involvement to a degree, to a large degree. I like the idea of this becoming something bigger than me. I like the idea of looking back in years to come as Off the Lead being something that I started, not something that was, you know, mine. But anyway, getting back to the Facebook group, I put up a post basically saying, look, if you've any ideas on what this is, ought to be, might become, could aspire to, whatever, let me know. And I've been thinking about it on and off over the last day or two, and one thing that I've noticed about my own life is I spend far too much time on I was going to say online, on my smartphone, and I've just realised that I don't have my microphone plugged in, so bear with me 2 secs. Apologies. Hopefully that's a lot clearer and not as noisy, basically. I'm going to have to try and figure out some way of, I suppose, ensuring that doesn't happen at all. I was about to say as often, but at all. And again, in keeping with what I was just saying, if you've an idea of what would help to remind me to stick that fucking microphone in every time I hit record, or before every time I hit record, let me know. Like, there's little things that I do. Like, I leave something at the door. If I have to bring something with me the next day when I leave the house, I leave something at the door, you know, so I don't forget. But what's happened to me in the past is I've often walked straight past the thing that I left at the door. Worse still, I've often moved it out of my fucking way, jumped into the car, drove halfway around the world, and then realised, fuck! You know, I've forgotten to bring the only thing that I needed to bring with me. And I moved it out of my fucking way to leave the house. So what I'll do is, I'll put a sock on the door handle. So even if I do forget to bring the thing and I move it out of the way, when I put my hand on the door to open the door, I'll see the sock and I'll go, oh fuck, what was that to remind me of? And then I'll see the box beside the door and I'll go, ah, brilliant. Now, a better way than that is to put the box in the fucking car the night before, not to be putting socks in your front door. But look, done beats perfect. Do something imperfectly beats not doing it at all. So again, if you have any little hints or tips or, you know, sick bag at the ready life hacks that you'd like to share or think that are worthy of kind of spreading, don't keep that shit to yourself. You know, tell me and I'll tell whoever listens. Think there are little tricks in life that can go a long way. And if I was to list out 50 of them and someone somewhere embraced one of them and it helped initiate a bit of positive change in their life and the lives of the people around them, you know, then you and we'll have done our bit to progress this whole thing on to the next level. Anyway, yes, that's what I was saying when I copped that I hadn't the microphone plugged in. I spend way too much time on my smartphone. Way too fucking much. Like, I think it's fair to say most people. Now, I think that smartphones have been demonized. People seem to think that, you know, smartphones are the devil. Smartphones are perfectly harmless. The boredom that has us pulling our smartphone out of our pockets every 10 seconds, that's harmful. The device itself is an inanimate object. You know, it's not addictive. The service that it provides is addictive, which I think is distraction. And I think what we're distracting ourselves from is boredom. We get bored. We are bored. We're perpetually bored. And therein lies the problem. And again, this is something that needs, I think, its own solo podcast on it. And just kind of speaking free, thinking out loud, I've caught myself there. I've caught myself doing something that I've done before, which is mentioning something and then saying, oh no, I'll do a podcast on that. That needs its own half an hour. So if I've forgotten something, if I've mentioned that I was going to do a solo episode on a particular thing and you thought to yourself, oh, that might be interesting, and I completely forgot about it, I'm off the lead at gmail.com. Give me a dig out. You know, am I repeating myself? Am I not repeating certain things enough? Get involved. And this is to each and every fucking one of you fuckers listening. Do your bit to progress the whole thing on. And that's where this group thing might come in. Maybe that's going to be a a good platform for people to maybe post things or message me directly, or better still, the group at large. I think the Facebook group is a good way to ask the listeners something. Don't ask me anything. Ask the people that are listening. Maybe you've been thinking something about what I've been doing, and maybe you'd like to ask other people who are going to be like-minded to a degree, at least. Surely, I mean, if you're listening to all these solo episodes and or the conversations, then you've probably got a lot more in common with the other people who are doing the same than you might think. Like, what I'm doing is by no means for everybody. Do you know that kind of way? Like, odds are you fall into a demographic of sorts. I've had a couple of female guests on recently, and that seems to have increased the amount of female listeners that I have. You know, fucking shocker. Who'd have thunk it? But I'm very keen to get a much better handle on who's listening. And by who, I don't mean, you know, names and addresses of the people that are tuning in. I mean the demographic. Is everybody that's listening, you know, between the ages of 18 and 40? Are they all men? Or is it 95% men? Is it only people who are sporty? Is it only people who are into psychology or philosophy? Or is it only people who are introverted or extroverted? You know, it'd be great to get a better handle on who it is that I'm speaking to. I suppose for no other reason than to improve it, to further the whole thing along. But anyway, the Facebook group thing, and this idea that I, and presumably we, spend far too much time on our phones, and that's probably due to boredom. Boredom being the problem, not smartphones. There's nothing remotely wrong with smartphones. They're fucking brilliant. They're tools, and they're no different than shovels. Great if you want to dig a hole. Terrible if you want to smash someone across the head with it. But the group could very easily become just another thing that sucked you into your smartphone. And that's certainly not what I want to create. I remember past guest and friend of the show, Des C. Prasad. He mentioned something to me before about apps. I'm going to butcher this, but again, the sentiment will be there. I was recommending he download some app. I can't even remember what it was. And he kind of went, yeah, no. And I was like, oh, fair enough. And he said, no, let me explain why I'm not going to download it. And essentially what he said was he tries at least to only download apps that encourage real life interactions. And to lay that out for you, I think the example he gave was Done Deal. Done Deal is an application that you download onto your smartphone that puts you literally in direct contact with people selling or giving away what you want. So it very much so puts people together, but in a real life sense. You actually get to meet a blind stranger. You know, you actually get to trade. Done Deal, in a sense, revitalizes, not barter, because typically you don't swap things, although that does happen, but trading amongst human beings. That doesn't really happen anymore. Look, we go into shops, but that's not you selling something of yours to somebody else. That's you buying into stuff. That's, you know, commercialism, rampant capitalism, and very, very, very much so on the lead.
But the concept of done deal is actually quite off the lead. Daft is another good example. Putting you in contact with something that you require, i.e. property. And there are other examples. None that kind of spring to mind, but they're not games. They're not something that, remember Snake? Again, I'm probably speaking above and beyond a certain age group, but before smartphones there was a game called Snake, which basically, it couldn't have been any simpler. I stick it into Google, Snake game, Snake phone game, and you'll get a little video of what it is, or into YouTube even better again. But that was the opposite of what I'm talking about. That just, connected you with the device in your pocket more than is beneficial, say. Far more than is beneficial. But anyway, I digress. The point that I'm labouring to make is I don't want the Facebook group to become another Snake. To become another, there's a Freudian slip in there somewhere, but I don't want it to become another life experience sucking thing. And what I'm thinking it could be used for is to organise real life interactions. So actual meetups. So maybe I'll invite you down to my business and show you what a vertical farm looks like, and show you how easy it is to basically set up and run your own business. I like the idea of sharing that with people, especially like-minded people who are, into the whole off-the-lead thing. My business is very much off the lead, and it's a shining example, I think, of what can be achieved by, I suppose, a bit of hard work, a bit of aspirational thinking, a bit of an off-the-lead mentality, and an internet connection, basically. Because I Googled everything that I needed to know to set up and run that business. I have no background or qualification in horticulture, but yet I somehow managed to grow a couple of 100,000 plants every week, and have been doing so every week for 2.5 years without fail. Never missed a delivery. Touch wood. So that's my thoughts on this Facebook group thing, that it would become something that I could put up a post saying, look, thinking of doing an open day in my business on the 10th of April at 10 o'clock or whatever. Or maybe I could use it that I could give people a heads up to what lake that me and Des were going to go swimming in. And maybe you want to come and just have the fucking chats. Maybe you've no intention of getting in. Maybe you just jump in, freeze your bollocks off for 2 seconds, and then jump back out. Like, think of how that might change your life. If that's not too grandiose a statement. But imagine that. Imagine you were to rock up to Loch Sheelan there in Virginia in 2 or 3 weeks' time, having arranged to meet up with me and Des and whoever else. Myself and Des will get in and do our little, 5 or 10 minute swim, depending on the temperature of the water. And maybe you'll just stand there and chat to me and Des, or to someone else, or maybe you'll jump in. How would that improve your day? How would that improve your week? How might that improve your life? This fucking life of yours is there for the taking. It really is. Like I said, I think I said this in that speech poem thing I wrote. You're not due anything. Nothing's owed to you. This life is what you'll make it. And the life that you have up until now, you've given yourself that. You've absolutely given yourself that life. And if it's been a pretty shit life, maybe take some fucking ownership. Maybe say, yeah, I am where I am because of my actions. But don't use that as a stick to beat yourself to death with. Use it to, you know, initiate some change. Put a better spin on it. I might revisit the whole spin thing because it's just so important. It's everything. It's everything. It's your outlook. You create your own reality. Blue in the face fucking saying it, and I'm going to continue saying it because it's something that certainly wasn't hammered home to me, and isn't typically hammered home to anyone. It's a message that just doesn't seem to be out there for some reason, and I don't know fucking why not. Jesus Christ, is there anything more important than getting across this notion that you create your own reality? So in relation to the Facebook group, let me know your thoughts. Maybe you can think of something else that will be worthwhile organising. Maybe you'd like to organise a trip to Newgrange with Anthony Murphy. Maybe I could organise something like that. Maybe somebody listening runs a cool business or is part of a cool club. Maybe if I was to hit up Andy Ryan, he'd allow me and half a dozen of us or 2 or 3 of us or whatever to go up and do a free hour's training with him. Or maybe Roger Dars. Maybe you'd like to meet up with me and a couple of other people and head to the Royal Grappling Academy there at Junction 6 in Blanche. Maybe you'd like to give jiu-jitsu a go. Maybe you've been meaning to do it for ages, but you just haven't plucked up the courage to rock up. Because look, it's not easy doing those sort of things, especially if you're kind of an introverted type of guy. Like some people aren't fazed with that. Some people just stroll into rooms and go, "Well, I'm here." Oh, hold on a second. Oh yeah.
You know where Beta Deal is?
Cash and carry?
Yeah.
I do. If you go up to the first set of lights, do you know Navan?
I don't know that.
No bother at all. If you go up to the first set of lights here and swing a left,
Yeah.
that'll bring you up to a roundabout.
Okay.
Take your first left off that roundabout.
Yeah.
And your next right.
First left off the roundabout, then the next right.
Yeah, so left at the traffic lights.
Traffic lights.
First left off the roundabout.
And then first right.
And your first right. You'll pass by Chadwick's on your right hand side, and it's up there on the right hand side. It's in a bit off the road. You'll have to drive into a big yard, but that's where it is.
So basically left, and right.
Left, and right. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Take care, but all the best. I wonder how much you caught of that. That'd be interesting to listen back. Little does that man know that he's on a podcast. Anyway, quick check of the time. 23 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, the Facebook group. Basically, in summary, let me know your thoughts on the Facebook group. Let me know what type of meetups we could orchestrate. Maybe a live podcast is something that you'd like to attend. Now, I'm not going to sell out the 3 Arena anytime soon, but I might say to a pub owner or a hotel or someone, any chance that we could get a room for an hour or two, and maybe I could have an open floor discussion type thing with people. I don't fucking know. Maybe a book club is something that you're interested in. Maybe a podcast club. There's an interesting one. Like a book club. So my understanding of book clubs is people who are into reading get together every so often and talk about the books they've read, or maybe a particular book they've read. What about a podcast club? Is there such a thing? If you're into your podcast, and again, if you're enjoying what I'm talking about, odds are you enjoy the likes of Joe Rogan, or odds are you like, maybe Blind Boy, Or like, who else are you listening to? There's an interesting one. But again, this is the type of thing that there's only so much of this stuff that I can think up by myself. And that's where the kind of listener engagement comes in. So send me an email to imoffthelead@gmail.com. Post to the group. So put it this way, if you want to talk to me directly, imoffthelead@gmail.com will get me. If you want to talk to the group, so if you want, and by the group I mean people like you who are listening to this whole Off the Lead thing, whether it's just the conversations or just the solo episodes or both or whatever. If you want to address the listener base, call it what you will, maybe stick it up on the group. How will you find the group? The group is private, so you have to request to join it. It doesn't cost anything. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. I more or less blanketly accept everybody within reason. I'll probably go onto your page and make sure that it's not full of, you know, hate speech or something. You know, if I go onto your page and I see a load of women are all crazy bitches and the Jews kill Jesus or whatever it is, you know, you're not getting in, lad. Like this, I want this group to be open source to a degree, but at the same time, I'm not about to allow it degenerate into something that would cause more harm than good. So I do intend to keep tabs on it for the foreseeable future, at least. So, look, let me know what you think, either on the group or directly, and I'll chat to you soon. Good luck!